Many people believe that our planet has been almost completely explored. However, from time to time, people encounter things that do not fit into our usual understanding of reality.
What? Oh my god. Is that fireworks?
What the fuck is it?
In this video, I present to you a compilation of observations of fantastic phenomena and encounters with incredible creatures that were captured on camera by eyewitnesses. Enjoy watching. A traveler was filming picturesque mountain landscapes when he suddenly heard a prolonged roar echoing through the gorge. Looking around, the man noticed movement among the trees, after which a gigantic creature slowly emerged from the forest thicket. The being resembled a real dragon. It had brown skin covered with large scales and sharp spikes along its spine, and behind its back spread massive leathery wings. The monster froze for several seconds, staring intently at the man, then turned around and disappeared into the dense forest. The traveler managed to record a short video. Now you too can see the mountain dragon with your own eyes. An ordinary lunch on the terrace turned into a surprise for this family. While they were talking and eating, a strange animal came out of the forest and was captured on camera. The footage shows that the creature resembles a fox but has noticeable differences. Larger size, long slender legs, a less fluffy tail, an elongated muzzle, and large pointed ears. The animal was not afraid of people. It approached a bowl on the floor and ate some treats. Perhaps it was indeed a fox hybrid or some unknown species. While fishing on one of the rivers, a local resident saw a mysterious creature leap out of the water. It made several jumps above the surface, which was enough for the eyewitness to capture the moment on his smartphone camera. According to the fisherman, the creature resembled the legendary Loch Ness Monster, but had several differences. Its neck was noticeably shorter, and its body was more streamlined. The being had flippers and dark, smooth skin. After a few seconds, it disappeared into the depths, leaving the man astonished. What kind of creature it was remains a mystery. A traveler who was live streaming during a hike in the forest accidentally discovered a tiny creature inside the hollow of an old tree. The footage instantly attracted viewers' attention. The small being, smaller than a squirrel, periodically peeked out of the hollow, checking whether the person had left. The eyewitness decided not to disturb the mysterious creature. He filmed for a few more seconds and then continued on his way. Viewers of the live stream were amazed and concluded that the blogger had encountered a forest spirit. A passenger on an airplane flying over the area of a major wildfire was filming plumes of smoke through the window. Suddenly, two bright red blazing fragments appeared in the thick black smoke. At first, the eyewitness was puzzled. How could burning debris rise to such a height? But soon it became clear that it was something else. A creature with wide, membranous wings was maneuvering in the smoke. It skillfully avoided the hottest areas, moving smoothly among the clouds of smoke. The body of the being glowed from within like burning coal, and it seemed as though it was breathing fire. After returning home, the man posted the video online. Due to the smoke and recording quality, it was difficult to clearly see the creature, but most viewers concluded that it was a fire dragon. In a dense forest, hunters noticed a horse with enormous snow-white wings. Most likely it was a Pegasus. Astonished by what they saw, the men decided to capture the unusual creature. They set up a trap, and when the winged horse was caught, they chained it. The creature resisted desperately. It struck with its hooves, flapped its wings, and struggled to break free. At one point, the Pegasus managed to escape and flew away. A few days later, another video appeared online, in which a man proudly demonstrated his pet Pegasus. However, many users doubted the authenticity of both videos, suggesting that they had been generated by artificial intelligence. While walking near a cave, a traveler encountered a true nightmare. From the dark entrance, a monster suddenly emerged, a huge dog with 3 heads. Each head looked in a different direction, and its jaws snarled, revealing sharp fangs. Despite his fear, the man took out his phone and managed to record a short clip capturing the terrifying creature. Then he ran away from the cave without looking back. The published video sparked intense discussion. Many users agreed that it was Cerberus, the legendary 3-headed dog from ancient Greek mythology. Others believed that the video used editing. While walking through a remote forest, a man heard piercing screams that made him uneasy. Curiosity overcame fear, and he followed the sound. After some time, he saw a woman with snow-white wings standing behind a tree. Her figure glowed softly, and her face remained blank. A few seconds later, the creature turned its back and disappeared among the trees. After returning home, the man posted the video featuring this unusual woman. Viewers' opinions were divided. Some were convinced it was an angel sent from heaven. Others, on the contrary, believed it could have been a cunning spirit or a witch who had taken on an angelic form to lure a person into a trap. A young man noticed a tiny mysterious creature in the yard of his home. According to him, it was no more than 20 centimeters tall, with large, round eyes and thin limbs. The eyewitness immediately turned on his smartphone camera to capture the discovery. But due to poor lighting, the recording was difficult. When he decided to approach closer, the creature suddenly darted aside and disappeared into the bushes. The author of the video is convinced that he encountered a duende, a mythological spirit from the folklore of the peoples of the Iberian Peninsula and Latin America. According to legends, duendes resemble little humanoids. They can be either friendly or mischievous. These beings hide from humans, enjoy playing tricks, and sometimes interfere in household matters. Online discussions have once again resurfaced about a video that appeared several years ago. It captures a strange incident on a city road. The footage shows an ordinary stretch of road with cars driving along it. Suddenly, the surface cracks, a loud sound is heard, and a terrifying creature jumps out of the resulting fissure. It resembles a giant spider with leathery wings. The recording ends at that very moment. It is difficult to believe in the reality of this situation. So many people are convinced that it is edited. In the vicinity of the Argentine city of Santa Fe, local residents complained for several weeks about strange nighttime sounds. According to them, a dull roar or grinding noise came from the forest after midnight and could be heard several blocks away. Several brave individuals decided to find out what was happening. When they heard the frightening sounds again, they followed them. Deep in the forest, among the trees, the people noticed a large figure. The creature resembled a humanoid. It had long limbs, a large head, and unnaturally broad shoulders. Its skin appeared almost black and seemed to absorb light. The men captured the creature on camera and then returned home, fearing they might be noticed. When they showed the recording to their neighbors, many concluded that it was a chupacabra, a monster from modern Latin American folklore. A woman went for a walk in the forest. She often visits this place and knows the area well, but this time she noticed something unusual. Looking closely at one of the trees, she saw something moving among the roots. When she approached, the woman saw a tiny humanoid creature. It had a large head and thin limbs. The being became still for a moment, as if studying the woman watching it, and then disappeared among the roots. The author of the video still cannot find an explanation for what she saw. However, the encounter made her believe that deep in the forests live beings that humanity has long considered to be only part of folklore. A man was observing the night sky through an amateur telescope. While adjusting the optics, he noticed strange movement at a great height. Pointing the device at the right spot, he saw a large object of unusual shape, elongated, without visible wings, engines, or signal lights. The object moved silently and changed direction smoothly without sharp maneuvers. According to the eyewitness, it was definitely not an airplane, drone, or satellite, since its trajectory and motion dynamics did not match known aircraft. The man believes he captured a real alien spacecraft. The author of this video noticed an unusual cloud forming at sunset. Its outline strikingly resembled a lion with its mouth open. The figure clearly displayed a mane, the contours of a muzzle, and even the silhouette of fangs. The fantastic effect was enhanced by the rays of the setting sun. They painted the cloud in rich orange tones, giving the silhouette depth and realism. The phenomenon lasted several minutes until air currents began to change the shape of the cloud. Several years ago, footage appeared on the internet that still causes debate and concern among viewers. The video captures a creature standing on the roof of a building. At first, it stands motionless and resembles a human, but then it spreads enormous wings and after a few seconds, takes off. The clip sparked a wave of discussion. Some viewers compared the creature to the so-called Mothman. The legend about it originated in the 1960s in the United States. At that time, eyewitnesses reported encounters with a winged humanoid whose appearance allegedly foreshadowed disasters. This footage shows the Qiantang River, located in China's Zhejiang province. It is famous for its unusual tidal waves known as the Silver Dragon. They resemble a writhing mythical beast rushing across the water. During this phenomenon, due to the collision of the tide with the river's narrow and shallow channel, a giant wave rises. Its height can sometimes reach 9 meters, and its speed moving upstream can reach 40 kilometers per hour. The most powerful waves occur during the autumn equinox. Interestingly, another rare phenomenon also occurs on this river, the fish scale tide. It appears when the tide changes direction, and the waves meet each other at an angle, forming an unusual pattern that resembles scales. The author of this footage explores remote caves. Over his extensive experience, he has discovered many interesting findings, but this discovery left him in shock. That day, together with his friends, he was studying another cave. After going far from the entrance, the explorers saw a distant glow in one of the cave chambers and followed it. As they approached, they saw a motionless human figure surrounded by a bright white light. The researchers tried to find a rational explanation for what they saw, but their minds refused to perceive it as reality. They decided to capture the phenomenon on camera and then left the cave, fearing that they had encountered something humans were not meant to meet. Recently, the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, released video recordings made in the tunnels beneath the Al-Aqsa complex in Jerusalem. The footage shows underground passages explored during recent excavations in an area of enormous religious significance for Muslims and Jews. In the video, narrow corridors, stone walls, and traces of ancient construction technologies can be seen, yet there is no direct confirmation of the discovery of the legendary Jerusalem Temple. Nevertheless, among part of the public and some experts, there is an opinion that sealed rooms of potential historical value were discovered during the excavations. Supporters of this version point to architectural fragments and the layout features of the tunnels, which allow for the possible existence of hidden chambers. In addition, they call on archaeologists to conduct further research. However, Netanyahu opposes such actions, as they could lead to the collapse of Al-Aqsa. A farmer in Brazil interrupted his work in the field when his attention was drawn to an unusual phenomenon in the sky. Above the horizon, a massive cloud figure seemed frozen in place, clearly resembling the image of Christ. Shocked by what he saw, the man took out his smartphone and recorded the event on video. The clip quickly spread across social media and sparked heated discussions. Some users believe it was merely an optical illusion, since clouds sometimes take on astonishing shapes. Others are convinced that the phenomenon had a divine nature and served as a sign from above. On a clear day, eyewitnesses managed to capture on their smartphone cameras how a shadowy figure formed within dense clouds. When the outlines became clearer, many unanimously decided that it was the image of Jesus Christ. According to witnesses, at one moment the figure seemed to spread its garments and then smoothly ascended upward. The video of the phenomenon triggered a wave of online discussions. Most users are convinced that this phenomenon could not have been natural, since the figure was moving and appeared to be woven from shadow rather than clouds. For this reason, many people believe it was a sign from above. Late at night at the Mukilteo terminal in Washington state, dispatchers noticed a massive silhouette blocking access to the dock. It later turned out to be the fishing vessel Mary B, silently drifting dangerously close to the shore. Upon inspection, it became clear that there was not a single person on board. This greatly frightened the dispatchers, since the vessel was moving with perfect stability, as if someone were controlling it. The incident became the subject of debate and discussion. Some people even speculated that a ghost had been steering the vessel, possibly attempting to cause a collision with other ships. This footage was shared online by a tourist traveling in Jerusalem. He was simply filming the surrounding landscape at a coastal resort when, while reviewing the recordings, he noticed something astonishing in the frame. In the distance, a solitary figure was sitting on the sand. When he zoomed in, the details shocked him. The silhouette turned out to be a man whose clothing and posture incredibly closely matched canonical depictions of Jesus Christ. After the man shared the footage online, it became known that a few days after this observation, people encountered another equally astonishing anomaly. Also in Jerusalem, during a religious gathering by a river, eyewitnesses recorded a tall, glowing figure rising above the surface of the water, likewise resembling Christ. Some may say it was merely a coincidence, but believers think otherwise. A resident of Mexico was filming a powerful thunderstorm. At that moment, the sky was torn by bright lightning flashes, and the thunderclaps drowned out all other sounds. Suddenly, the storm abruptly subsided. The clouds dispersed, and an astonishing silhouette of a face in profile appeared in the sky. A glowing eye, straight nose, and sharp chin formed an image resembling a demon. The man was impressed by the footage and decided to share it online. Users were fascinated by what they saw, yet most believe that the phenomenon is an example of pareidolia, a condition in which our brain recognizes familiar images even in random patterns. In the Indian city of Tirupati, a driver stopped to rest. After stepping out of his car, he noticed a cluster of very dense clouds in the sky. The man decided to capture them on camera, and at that very moment the clouds formed a clear silhouette of the god Vishnu. The figure seemed frozen in stillness, as if the deity were observing what was happening below. Some people concluded that it was merely an optical illusion created by nature. But how can one explain that the silhouette seemed to emerge from the clouds for a second, and then became concealed by them once again? In the Chinese city of Chengdu, local residents witnessed a mysterious phenomenon. Before their eyes, several glowing spheres appeared in the sky. According to eyewitnesses, the objects slowly and completely silently moved toward the surface of the Earth. From a distance, they resembled fragments of an asteroid that had broken apart in the atmosphere, but it was something different. People were shocked by what they saw. Many ran outside to witness the unusual spectacle, while others, on the contrary, tried to take cover in panic, fearing that the spheres might fall to the ground. However, not a single object reached the surface. Gradually, they dissolved into the air, leaving behind only questions. Near Manchester Airport in the United Kingdom, eyewitnesses noticed an unusual object in the sky. According to witnesses, it was a black sphere moving at astonishing speed, much faster than ordinary airplanes or drones. Some observers managed to capture the phenomenon on their smartphone cameras, providing evidence of the event. However, despite the reality of the footage, the phenomenon remains a mystery. Airport dispatchers checked radar data, but did not detect any unidentified objects within their area of responsibility. Air traffic was not interrupted, and flights proceeded as normal. It turns out that at that moment, nothing unusual was officially happening. But what then was captured on the eyewitnesses' cameras? Several years ago, a mysterious video appeared online, sparking intense debate among users. The footage, filmed in a mountainous area, captured the flight of an unusual creature. The beast had impressive size and enormous wings, and the shape of its body vaguely resembled a mythical dragon. Due to the distance and quality of the recording, it is difficult to identify the creature precisely. However, even so, it is clear that it could not have been a bird. That is why most viewers of the video also pointed out its striking resemblance to a dragon. The author of the mysterious video featuring a strange creature preferred to remain anonymous, which only fueled public interest and generated numerous speculations. The footage shows a dark figure flying across the night sky. The creature has a humanoid body and enormous wings. Although it is very difficult to believe in the real existence of such a monster, many viewers agreed that the video might have captured the so-called Mothman. This mythical being is said to have a height of about 2 to 3 meters, a human-like body, large wings, and glowing eyes. The description of the monster indeed matches the way the figure appears in the footage. People noticed a huge bird approaching in the sky. At first, they assumed it was a condor, since its size and the outline of its wings matched that version. Some eyewitnesses decided to capture the bird on camera. However, when the creature came closer, it turned out to be nothing like what they had expected. It was a real monster with the body of a human and the wings of a bird. The creature's appearance evoked associations with mythological beings. Some immediately recalled harpies from ancient legends, while others mentioned similar creatures from the folklore of various cultures. However, this being has still not been identified. This video was shared online by one of the members of a tourist group. According to him, they were filming the surrounding landscapes when they suddenly noticed dragonflies fluttering above the river. When they moved closer, the tourists realized these were not insects, but real mythical beings. These tiny figures had human-like bodies with arms and legs and transparent wings. Surprisingly, later the author of the video noticed similar creatures away from the river, and he even caught one of them by its wings like a butterfly. The tourists believed they were lucky enough to see forest and river fairies. In August 2024, an anomalous dust storm occurred in Sudan, shocking even local residents who are accustomed to annual dust storms. The wind lifted colossal volumes of reddish dust into the air, which quickly spread across hundreds of kilometers. The sky darkened, and everything around was tinted in a deep blood-red shade. Visibility dropped almost to zero. The landscapes resembled a true vision of hell. Scientists link the phenomenon to a combination of drought, soil erosion, and abnormally strong winds. According to them, the unusual color of the dust is due to a high concentration of iron oxides. Residents of Shanghai witnessed a mysterious celestial event. Around 10 p.m., a giant glowing line appeared above the city, seemingly connecting many small spheres. It hung almost motionless and only occasionally shifted slowly to the side. At one point, 3 glowing spheres broke away from the line and began moving chaotically, emitting a soft white-blue glow. Eyewitnesses noted that these objects did not resemble drones or any other aircraft. Interestingly, a few days later, residents of Perth, Australia, also observed a similar phenomenon. However, this time it was not yet dark, and it was clearly visible that it was not a line, but something resembling a spacecraft. In December 2024, residents of Tulsa, Oklahoma witnessed an unexplained celestial phenomenon. Around midday, the sky suddenly changed, and among the ordinary clouds, bright blue squares appeared, forming a perfect grid. The geometric pattern looked so sharp and precise that many people initially could not believe their eyes. Yet the grid remained stable. The pattern did not blur or change shape, and the color stayed vivid. It seemed as though someone was projecting the pattern onto the cloud layer. The phenomenon lasted less than 1 minute, but that was enough for dozens of people to capture it in photos and videos. A recording by one eyewitness quickly gained popularity online. Users proposed various explanations, ranging from a rare atmospheric effect to a technological origin. However, the true nature of the phenomenon remains a mystery. A man was simply filming the night sky when a bright point suddenly appeared in the frame, moving rapidly parallel to the horizon. After a few seconds, a blinding flash occurred, and in place of the point of light, a giant glowing disc emerged. It expanded and then slightly contracted, as if processes were taking place inside the object. The disc remained visible for about 40 seconds, then slowly shrank back into a bright point before disappearing without a trace. The eyewitness immediately uploaded the video online, where it gained many views, but experts have not yet commented on the phenomenon. One night, residents of Victorville, California, heard strange sounds. At first, people thought a storm was beginning, but the noise differed from thunder. It was mechanical, dull, and heavy. Residents went outside trying to determine the source of the sound, but the sky remained clear. The incident attracted the attention of police and emergency services. They checked all possible sources, but that night, no aircraft flights or weather phenomena were recorded that could explain what was happening. After some time, the noise stopped. Interestingly, a few hours later, similar reports began coming in from neighboring states. Witnesses described the same metallic, muffled sound. Despite the large number of people who heard the rumbling, the anomaly was never identified.
So we all just got woken up to some disturbing sound all through the whole area. I just called 911 and they said they've gotten like over 50 calls about it.
Residents of several cities in Mexico witnessed an unusual celestial anomaly. Suddenly, in the clear sky, a powerful rumble sounded, resembling distant thunder. People went outside and saw a giant ring slowly forming from the clouds before their eyes. It glowed with a golden color, as if fire were burning inside it. The ring maintained clear outlines for about 3 minutes, then began to fade and gradually dissolved into the clouds. Some experts suggest that people witnessed a rare atmospheric phenomenon, possibly a type of halo. However, the witnesses themselves believe it was something else. A resident of Texas witnessed an unusual thunderstorm, which he managed to capture on video. Around midnight, the sky suddenly lit up with numerous short flashes. They appeared very frequently and chaotically, creating a striking effect. During these flashes, the sky turned a deep red color. The eyewitness reported that he did not hear the usual claps of thunder. Instead, the phenomenon was accompanied by sounds resembling a low-frequency hum. Interestingly, the anomaly lasted 5 minutes before everything abruptly ended. What it was remains a mystery. A passenger on a Los Angeles to New York flight captured an unusual phenomenon on camera. When the airplane entered a zone of dense clouds, the man noticed a bright orange glow beneath them. According to the passenger, it gave him the impression that beneath the clouds there was molten magma or a sea of fire. It is quite possible that the glow was caused by the rays of the setting sun. However, the man claimed he had never noticed anything like it before, even though he travels on this route very often. During a hike in the Swiss Alps, a tourist recorded an unexplained celestial phenomenon, a large golden ring hanging motionless against the clear sky without changing its position or size. Despite its stillness, the ring's contour, resembling tongues of flame, continuously moved in a circular pattern, creating the illusion of slow rotation. This gave the object the appearance of a portal to another dimension. According to the eyewitness, the phenomenon lasted about 4 minutes before slowly dissipating. The tourist decided to share what he had seen online by publishing the video. However, instead of finding out what it was, he was accused of using video editing. This video was filmed in northern Canada by a group of tourists. The footage clearly shows 2 perfectly round openings in the center of a thin veil of clouds. The eyewitnesses said that when they saw this anomaly, it immediately reminded them of a human skull. The shape of the cloud layer indeed vaguely resembled a skull, and the openings looked like 2 eye sockets. Meteorologists find it difficult to explain the phenomenon, since breaks in clouds usually have a chaotic shape and change rapidly, but this sighting lasted more than 10 minutes. A resident of one of the cities in California went outside at night and noticed an unusual nebula in the sky. The formation did not move. It seemed frozen in one spot above the horizon, standing out against the dark sky. The man became curious about what it was and decided to look at the object through his camera. When he zoomed in, it became visible that at the center of the nebula, there was a silhouette resembling a spacecraft. The eyewitness realized that he had captured something unique and posted the video online. After watching the recording, most users agreed on the extraterrestrial origin of the object, since finding a scientific explanation for the phenomenon proved difficult. The author of this video was standing on a bridge above a busy road when he noticed an unusual dark object in the sky. It did not resemble an airplane or a balloon and looked more like a living creature. The eyewitness even compared the UFO to a squid, since several long appendages, resembling tentacles, extended from its main body. The object moved smoothly and completely silently. The eyewitness posted the video online, but despite a huge number of views, no one was able to determine what it was. The author of this video went outside and noticed an unusual object appearing in the night sky. It consisted of a cluster of glowing spheres with a long, shimmering tail trailing behind it. At first, the man thought he was observing some kind of celestial body, possibly a comet. But soon it became clear that it was something else. Unlike a comet, the object moved chaotically. It would freeze in place, then suddenly shift to the side, and later began drawing intricate patterns across the sky. After several minutes, the object developed tremendous speed and disappeared from view. Unfortunately, this anomaly was never identified. In the foothills of Lower Galilee in Israel, where the air is filled with echoes of past eras, something astonishing occurred. On the outskirts of one settlement, a giant pillar of light appeared in the sky. It did not dissipate, nor did it change shape under gusts of wind, but stretched upward in a perfectly straight column. Several eyewitnesses managed to record what was happening on camera, but even the lens could not fully capture the unusual nature of the spectacle. Local residents and many viewers concluded that it was no coincidence that the anomaly appeared in a place that has served as a source of legends and traditions for centuries. In their opinion, it was a sign from above, the meaning of which remains a mystery. A family from Scotland captured an unusual creature on video during a picnic. In the footage, we can see a fluffy little ball with legs quickly rolling across the grass. The authors claim that it was a haggis, a mythical animal from Scottish folklore. According to legends, the haggis inhabits mountains and forests. Its main feature, besides its fluffy fur, is the unique structure of its legs. On one side, they are shorter than on the other. This helps it move skillfully along steep slopes. In one direction, it walks on its longer legs, and in the other direction on its shorter ones. Scots love telling legends about these creatures, but no one has ever encountered them in real life. So most likely, the authors of the video decided to play a prank on viewers and demonstrate how this creature might look in real life. On the 22nd of May 2025, an incredible event occurred in Toronto. At night, a triangular object unlike any aircraft created by humans hovered over residential neighborhoods. It was enormous, had sharp outlines, and bright lights glowed at its corners. The woman who recorded it on her smartphone noted that it made no sound at all. This complete silence caused her great anxiety and fear. The footage, clearly showing a UFO, was published in several local Facebook communities and became the most discussed topic of the past month. Some users suggested that an alien spacecraft or a secret military fighter jet had flown over the city. Skeptical commentators rejected this idea, believing instead that Toronto residents had seen the effects of a light show, the lights of a tower crane hidden by fog, or an ordinary drone. Several years ago, tourists and residents of Rio de Janeiro in Brazil, who had gathered near Mount Corcovado to admire the evening scenery and the city's famous landmark, the Christ the Redeemer statue, witnessed the appearance of a huge blazing sphere in the sky. It was moving toward the ground and left behind a long, fiery trail, leading many to mistake it for a meteorite. Suddenly, the object made a smooth turn and flew toward the statue. Upon reaching it, the sphere circled once and disappeared. The next day, footage of this phenomenon was published on social media and even shown on television. Later, scientists explained that it had merely been a weather anomaly, unusual but completely harmless. However, those who were near the Christ the Redeemer statue that evening did not believe this explanation and continued to insist that they witnessed something mystical. In the spring of 2023, cyclists traveling from Villa Elisa to Punta Lara decided to shorten their route by taking an abandoned road in La Plata. By midnight, they reached an exit onto a busy highway where they stopped for a brief rest. At the moment the entire group halted, two bright red spots appeared high in the sky, positioned close to each other. At first, the young people mistook them for aircraft signal lights, but they could not understand why they were not moving. One of the cyclists managed to record the glowing spots a couple of minutes before they disappeared and shared the video on his blog. The next morning, several people from different regions of Argentina contacted him. They claimed they had also seen the mysterious lights, but knew nothing about their origin. According to one conspiracy theory, the glow came from searchlights mounted on the hull of an alien spacecraft. Whether that is true, we will probably never know. These shots were taken by Russian climbers high in the Altai Mountains. They show three elongated triangular objects resembling arrowheads. According to eyewitnesses, the objects hovered silently in the sky for 8 to 9 minutes, slowly rotating around their own axis, and then literally dissolved into the air. Immediately after returning to base, the author of the video began searching for information about similar cases and came across a post by an unknown Danish fisherman. The fisherman claimed that in 2016, he had personally seen a huge triangular alien spacecraft hovering above the surface of the sea. As proof, he attached photographs of the object, and it indeed looked very similar to what the climber had seen in the mountains. Unfortunately, it was not possible to learn more about this case. The fisherman had not appeared online for a long time, and commenters concluded that the images he published were fake. In Savannah, in the state of Georgia, two strange incidents were recorded within 2 hours. First, locals noticed something in the sky resembling a creature with long legs that slowly flew among the clouds and periodically changed its shape. A little later, in the same area, people saw an elongated grey object hovering high above the ground. It moved almost silently and periodically blinked with lights, as if conducting aerial photography. Residents of Savannah still argue about what exactly they saw and wonder whether the two phenomena are connected. State authorities confirmed that reports of unidentified objects had been received by emergency services, but they currently have no information about where they came from. Presumably, these were hostile reconnaissance drones, although their movement was not typical for unmanned aerial vehicles, as eyewitnesses confirm. On the 17th of May, 2006, members of the ufological club called Nuevo Leon, Mexico, filmed a dark figure flying high above the ground over Mount Mitras, located near Monterrey in Mexico. Because cameras widely used at that time did not provide high image detail, the footage turned out to be low quality. However, even in the blurry frames, when zoomed in, a humanoid creature can be discerned. After the recording was made public, locals began spreading rumors about a witch living on Mount Mitras. Several years later, the story attracted the attention of video editing specialists. After studying the footage, they found no signs of manipulation, but they also could not confirm that it actually depicted something resembling a human. It is quite possible that it was a drone or an amateur flying device. Nevertheless, the population of Monterrey continues to believe in the legend of the Mountain Witch to this day, and eagerly tells it to visitors. During a severe thunderstorm that broke out over Los Angeles in California, several tourists went out onto a hotel balcony to film the lightning illuminating the entire city on their mobile phones. At one moment, a bright flash illuminated for a fraction of a second a motionless silhouette of a dragon-like creature with a long neck and enormous wings against the night sky. When the lightning flashed again, it was no longer visible. The video appeared online the same day and immediately became the subject of intense discussion. Social media users were divided. Some insisted that it was real proof of the existence of a mythical creature, while others argued that it was a storm cloud of an unusual shape that the tourists mistook for a dragon silhouette. As for meteorologists, they were unable to explain the event from a scientific standpoint and concluded that the video had been created using computer graphics. On the 3rd of September 2013, in the Canadian city of Vancouver, a baseball game between the teams called the Vancouver Canadians and the Everett Aquasox was taking place at Bailey Stadium. Approximately in the middle of the game, people sitting in the stands noticed an object high in the sky resembling a flying saucer. It hovered above the stadium for a long time and blinked with numerous lights. Videos and photos showing the alien craft instantly spread across social media and gave rise to rumors about aliens who had allegedly come to watch a baseball game. However, it soon turned out that the UFO was actually a drone launched by the McMillan Space Center to draw attention to the completion of renovations at the city planetarium. The news debunking the version of a mysterious spacecraft disappointed some locals, but they still remember this amusing story with warmth. In April 2024, residents of Texas were observing a solar eclipse when they suddenly saw a black entity fly over their heads at enormous speed. One eyewitness managed to capture it on camera and then posted the video online in hopes of finding an answer to what it was. Unfortunately, none of the participants in the discussion knew the nature of this frightening entity. However, there were people who claimed to have seen a similar dark apparition in other states and even far beyond the borders of the United States, in Turkey, Iraq, and China. Internet users put forward various hypotheses, ranging from a fast, large bird to a military fighter jet or a reconnaissance drone. However, the author of the video rejected all of them. He believes that it was a ghost from a legend about a mysterious shadow from the Colorado River, with which local fishermen frighten tourists. In the early 2000s, climbers who traveled to conquer snow-covered peaks in Tibet managed to film an incredible phenomenon. From behind a nearby mountain slope, a creature resembling a dragon from Chinese mythology suddenly emerged and swiftly disappeared into the clouds. According to them, it had a large serpentine body of a dark color with scales shimmering in the sunlight, a large head, and eyes glowing like burning embers. If the stories of people living in the central part of the Tibetan Plateau are to be believed, it was a spirit guarding the mountains. Encountering it is a rare stroke of luck and is said to foretell major changes in life. Of course, the dragon version sounds somewhat absurd, but lovers of mysticism trust it completely. Scientists, on the other hand, treated the video recorded by the climbers skeptically and have no doubt at all that computer graphics played a role in this case. One evening, teenagers from Alabama came to a local lake after sunset to relax. Suddenly, they saw about 20 semi-transparent figures resembling Dementors from the films about the boy wizard Harry Potter. The apparitions emitted a bright blue glow and hovered in the air, smoothly drifting from one shore to the other. The sight was both frightening and mesmerizing. Almost all of the witnesses' smartphones shut down at that moment, except for one boy whose phone continued to work, allowing him to record everything on camera. A couple of minutes later, several powerful flashes of light appeared on the opposite shore, illuminating everything within a radius of several dozen meters. When darkness returned to the lake, the ghostly figures vanished. The young people spent a long time wondering whether they had seen mystical beings or an incredibly impressive light show, but they never learned the truth. In the summer of 2021, visitors to the tourist complex known as the Blue Lagoon in Russia discovered a huge black slab hovering above the trees along the shoreline. It made no sound and did not move, only occasionally trembling, while its surface was sometimes covered with faintly glowing mysterious patterns. A few seconds later, numerous small copies of the slab appeared nearby. They circled the main monolith at varying speeds, sometimes almost freezing in place and sometimes rapidly scattering outward. A couple of days later, similar objects appeared in another part of the country, causing panic among the local population. To this day, no one knows where these slabs came from or where they later disappeared. Some suggest that they were part of a scientific experiment or that extraterrestrial beings were using them to collect information about our planet and its inhabitants. In Thailand, during a river cruise, tourists saw a large number of bats swarming near a strange, pulsating black cloud in the sky. On closer inspection of the footage, it becomes apparent that this eerie mass consists of tiny particles whose nature is difficult to determine. Those who witnessed the scene were frightened and asked the cruise ship's crew to leave the area as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, the video recorded by an eyewitness cuts off at the most intriguing moment. Due to the incomplete footage and its low quality, it is difficult to understand what the travelers actually saw. Chiropterologists concluded that the mysterious cloud was in fact a large swarm of insects, possibly leafhoppers, which are a favorite food of bats. However, they were unable to explain why these winged creatures chose to hunt during the daytime, since they usually forage after nightfall. In August 2025, a bright, elongated object resembling a huge glowing cloud was spotted over Florida. White spheres moved chaotically around it, then within seconds lined up in a row and disappeared. At that moment, people who were outside noticed that their phones began rebooting on their own, while mobile service appeared and vanished intermittently. In addition, many vehicles experienced failures in their onboard electronics, leading to traffic jams and several accidents. The unidentified object hovered in the sky for about 3 minutes before abruptly vanishing. Video recordings clearly showing it were sent for expert analysis, but the examination yielded no results. In order to calm the public, authorities announced that it was not an aircraft, but a rare atmospheric phenomenon. Needless to say, very few people believed this explanation. Several years ago, foreign social media platforms were buzzing with footage showing a cluster of devices resembling miniature drones. The person who shared the video claimed that they had been circling above a city for a long time, occasionally flashing as if photographing the area, and then grouped together and flew off toward a forested zone. Participants in the discussion tried to determine where exactly the recording had been made, but the author refused to provide additional details, citing concerns for the safety of loved ones. This decision led many to believe that the story was fabricated and that the video had been created using neural networks or video editing. However, some commenters were deeply alarmed, suggesting that these small objects could belong to hostile intelligence services or even extraterrestrials. A resident of the island of Haiti, who decided to take a walk around the city at the end of a workday, encountered an inexplicable phenomenon. Almost directly overhead, a large black disc slowly flew through the sky, closely resembling an alien spacecraft. Beneath it, moving at the same speed, was a dark cloud whose shape constantly changed. At first, it seemed like exhaust fumes, but it was unclear where they were coming from or why they did not dissipate in the air. Despite the terror that gripped him, the man managed to pull out his smartphone and record the UFO on camera. The video appeared on his Twitter page the same day and received numerous responses from locals. Some commenters claimed they had seen similar objects in various parts of the island, mainly in mountainous regions far from populated areas, but chose not to speak about them, believing that few would take such stories seriously. While working in a field, a resident of one of the Chinese provinces noticed a bright streak in the sky that continuously moved from left to right and was partially hidden by clouds. It resembled an ordinary contrail left by a passing airplane, but before its appearance, the man had not seen any aircraft. About 1 minute later, a white haze appeared next to the streak. It suddenly increased in size and then quickly dissipated, which is not typical for clouds. The farmer admired the unusual sight for a long time and then went home, as it was time for lunch. When he returned to the field, there was nothing left in the sky. Later, he shared the video recorded that day on social media, but none of those who watched it were able to explain what the streak was, if it was neither a plane trail nor one of the varieties of so-called cirrus clouds. These shots disturbed hundreds of internet users. They depict a humanoid creature with enormous jagged wings hovering high above the ground. Those who believed in the authenticity of the video saw an angel in it, possibly a harbinger of important events or catastrophes. Others were skeptical, considering it nothing more than clever editing. The version involving computer graphics sounds more plausible, but the video appears too well crafted, which is uncharacteristic of fakes. For example, if one looks closely at the clouds, it is possible to notice how perfectly the shadows from the flying creature fall upon them. Such a graphical effect is difficult to achieve, especially for beginners in video editing, so one might wonder whether this clip is actually not a forgery. About 1 year ago, a resident of the United States of America, while driving along a rural highway, noticed among the clouds a figure resembling Jesus Christ with arms crossed over the chest. It remained visible for about 3 to 4 minutes, after which it slowly dissipated. Being a deeply religious person, the man took the cloud-formed image as a sign from above and decided to record it on his mobile phone to share it with others. The video soon appeared online and attracted the attention of a specialist in atmospheric physics. The scientist believes that the footage shows an unusual combination of clouds and sunlight, in which the author perceived a heavenly sign. Although this explanation seems logical, many rejected it and continued to believe that the American had truly witnessed a divine miracle. In 2018, during a live broadcast on the Fox News channel, an episode occurred that went down in television history as one of the most mysterious. While the anchors were discussing the news of the day, an unusual creature appeared behind them, vaguely resembling a humanoid. It had unusually large proportions for a human, a torso, lower limbs, and arms with webbed extensions. The humanoid hovered in the sky outside the studio window for about 1 minute, and surprisingly, Neither the camera operators nor the hosts noticed it. The viewers, however, saw everything and even managed to record this moment of the broadcast. Later, the footage ended up in the hands of experts, who confirmed that there were no signs of editing. Representatives of Fox News did not comment on the incident and refused to provide the original recording of the broadcast, which gave rise to numerous rumors and theories. According to one version, the channel's management knows that an alien creature was captured on camera, but someone ordered this fact to be hidden from the public. In 2013, in Chile, tourists heading toward Mount Fitzroy recorded an elongated glowing object hovering at a great height above the ground on a smartphone camera. The bright spot in the sky resembled a common atmospheric phenomenon known as a halo, but it lacked the characteristic ring. Its elongated shape and unusually sharp outline suggested that it could be some kind of flying craft. After a while, the object flared up and disappeared in an unknown direction, confirming the travelers' suspicions of a UFO. Later, alarming messages from local residents appeared in news groups. According to them, the brightly glowing object had flown over several settlements located near Mount Fitzroy on that day. Some eyewitnesses claimed that it had a metallic body reflecting sunlight and powerful engines producing a loud hum. However, this information proved insufficient to determine who or what it belonged to and what its purpose was. On the evening of the 28th of July 2023, an event occurred in London that was discussed on social media for a long time. A man returning home by car noticed numerous red lights above the city. They moved slowly across the sky, sometimes merging together and sometimes breaking apart into dozens of fragments. One might have thought it was fireworks or a drone show, but it was raining that day, and it was unlikely that anyone would organize an aerial spectacle in such weather. Other residents of London also saw these strange lights. Some of them noted that they heard a faint noise coming from the lights, causing an oppressive sense of anxiety. City authorities did not respond in any way to the numerous requests from residents to explain the situation, while scientists suggested that the lights appeared above the city due to reflections of streetlights off raindrops in the sky. In 2014, clouds resembling enormous numbers with clear outlines appeared over Austin in the state of Texas. Local residents watching them from the ground experienced genuine shock. Religious people saw them as a sign from above, while amateur ufologists were convinced that it was an encrypted message from aliens and began trying to decipher it. It later turned out that the strange clouds were part of an art show called Pie in the Sky, organized by artist Ben Davis in collaboration with the advertising aviation company AirSign. Several airplanes participated in creating the aerial installation. Early in the morning, they flew over the city and left a smoke trail in the sky in the form of the first 100 digits of the number pi. This explanation reassured many impressionable residents of Austin, but some still cannot believe that it was not a supernatural phenomenon, but a product of human creativity. On the 27th of June 2025, at around 9 o'clock in the evening, Colleen McCormack from Massachusetts was relaxing in a hot tub in the backyard of her home. At some point, she looked up and saw something resembling a space rocket falling from the sky. Although the sight deeply frightened her, she managed to pull herself together and record what was happening on her smartphone. Immediately after the flaming rocket disappeared from view, Colleen posted the video online. It quickly spread through local social media and attracted the attention of journalists. Representatives of the Boston 25 channel interviewed the woman and showed her footage in a news broadcast. Soon, the story reached the attention of the United States Federal Aviation Administration, the Department of Defense, and even NASA. According to official reports, the areas where the unidentified flying object might have fallen were thoroughly searched, but specialists found neither debris nor traces of an explosion. In 2024, footage appeared online showing a dark angelic figure with enormous wings suddenly taking off above the sea and disappearing into the clouds a few seconds later. The author of the video claims that before he started filming the creature, it was emitting a golden glow and slowly hovering above the water, as if it were searching for something. Most participants in the discussion did not believe in the authenticity of the video, since the angelic figure flickers, becomes distorted in places, and differs greatly in sharpness compared to other objects captured by the camera. This and many other details strongly suggest clumsy editing. However, there were people who disagreed with this conclusion and continued to insist that a real angel was captured in the video. According to them, its appearance foretells serious changes, and the fact that it was recorded on a mobile phone is an incredible miracle. On the 19th of September 2017, the most destructive earthquake in the history of the country occurred in Mexico City. It claimed the lives of 225 people and left thousands of families without a roof over their heads. When the first tremors began, one local resident pulled out a smartphone to capture the shaking buildings. At some point, thick black smoke appeared above the roof of one of the high-rise buildings, which a couple of seconds later turned into a human silhouette. This video deeply affected Mexicans. They saw in the dark haze Santa Muerte, the Holy Death, a guide between the world of the living and the world of the dead. Scientists, however, refused to believe in mysticism and called this case a vivid example of mass pareidolia, a rare psychological phenomenon in which people begin to see familiar images, especially human figures, in clouds, shadows, or smoke. In February 2022, surveillance cameras installed on one of the houses in the Mexican city of Ciudad Cuauhtémoc captured a large flock of yellow-headed blackbirds that suddenly, and for no apparent reason, plunged to the ground. The birds crashed at enormous speed into fences, rooftops, and asphalt, causing most of them to die instantly. Wildlife experts who arrived at the scene were unable to determine the true cause of the birds' deaths. Biologists believe that the birds may have been electrocuted by power lines or poisoned by toxic fumes. Local residents have a different version. According to them, at the moment of the tragedy, an unidentified flying object was seen in the sky, emitting a quiet but rather irritating sound. It is possible that this object caused the birds to lose their orientation and fall. In the middle of 2017, the powerful tropical cyclone known as Irma struck the Caribbean islands, causing significant economic damage to Cuba, the Dominican Republic, Haiti, and a number of other countries. When the hurricane subsided, the internet was flooded with videos showing houses destroyed by the elements, fallen trees, and overturned cars. Among them was an unusual clip, supposedly recorded at the peak of the storm. It showed a massive cloud resembling a human head. Within 2 hours of publication, it was viewed by about 500,000 users, and the number of reposts exceeded 230,000. Some viewers saw the face of a demon in the strange cloud, others saw an angel or God himself, while some dismissed the recording as a fake. Meteorologists, in turn, advised people not to look for hidden meanings, noting that what many perceive as mysticism is often nothing more than a natural phenomenon. Around 2019, during a heavy rainstorm over New York, a fairly large object with glowing eyes appeared in the sky, its silhouette resembling a child's rubber duck. When lightning flashed, it was clearly visible against the dark clouds and terrified everyone who witnessed it. The object hovered motionless above the city for less than a minute, and then vanished without leaving a trace. The only evidence of its existence consisted of dashcam footage and recordings from outdoor surveillance cameras mounted on one of the city's buildings. These clips appeared online the day after the storm and sparked heated discussions on social media. Most commenters concluded that the footage showed an atmospheric optical phenomenon. However, others supported the extraterrestrial hypothesis, although they could not explain why an alien craft would have such a bizarre shape. One night, residents of several regions of Kenya woke up because of a bright flash that illuminated the entire sky. Rushing to their windows, they saw a huge flaming mass burst out of the clouds and move toward the horizon at tremendous speed. At first, it behaved like a meteor burning up in the atmosphere. However, then something happened that no one has been able to explain to this day. The fiery sphere with a long, blazing trail suddenly turned around and flew upward. For several minutes, it darted from side to side and then abruptly faded away. This incident seriously alarmed many Kenyans, since according to ancient legends of the Kalenjin people, such strange celestial lights foretell nothing good. Experts, however, advised them not to worry, suggesting that it could have been one of the rare atmospheric phenomena. On 4th of July 2025, many local residents and visitors gathered on the coast of the resort city of Imperial Beach in California. They had come to watch preparations for a festive event in honor of Independence Day of the United States. Suddenly, a tourist from Spain who was filming the scene on her smartphone pointed to the sky. Everyone standing nearby looked up and saw that the sun was rapidly and rhythmically pulsating. The flickering lasted about 10 seconds, but that was enough to cause feelings of anxiety and confusion. Later, a video capturing the mysterious trembling of sunlight appeared on Reddit and several popular social networks, sparking heated debates between supporters of the celestial dome theory and those who prefer a scientific worldview. The discussion was long, but none of the sides involved managed to explain this phenomenon. A young man from a Belgian province decided to go for a bicycle ride after sunset. Riding onto a highway leading to his city, he saw high in the sky a row of bright lights that seemed to be placed along the edge of a huge disc-shaped object resembling an alien spacecraft. When the cyclist entered the city limits, the lights began to move farther away and after a couple of minutes disappeared beyond the horizon. The sight terrified the young man, but he managed to pull himself together and record everything on video, which he later posted on Twitter. Viewers of the footage split into two camps. Some suggested that the author had captured effects of a light show or a rare optical illusion, while others insisted on the UFO version. Which of them was closer to the truth? We will never know. On 5th of April 2019, residents of the island of Andøya in Norway witnessed the appearance of several colored spots in the sky, vaguely resembling the northern lights typical for their region. The spots rapidly increased in size, and then 4 round spheres appeared next to them. At first, they shimmered in different colors, disappearing and reappearing. Then each of them emitted a bright beam, which later turned into a barely visible haze. The footage of this incredible phenomenon stirred public concern. People demanded explanations from the authorities, but they refused to comment. Later, scientists stated that a space rocket had flown over the island of Andøya and released residual fuel into the upper layers of the atmosphere. This was said to be the reason for the appearance of multicolored spots of various shapes in the sky. Although this explanation seemed quite natural, the locals did not believe it. In 2022, a small black cloud resembling some kind of fantastical substance was spotted over the coast of Sydney in Australia. Some social media users jokingly compared it to Dementors from the Harry Potter films, but the author of the video did not share their amusement. He claimed that this ominous black haze looked neither like a cloud nor like a gas accumulation, hovered motionlessly over the water, and did not react to gusts of wind. After about 5 minutes, it dissipated, leaving the observers bewildered. One participant in the discussion noted that the black haze resembled panis, a type of cloud formation. Such clouds always have a ragged shape, a dark color, and are considered harbingers of storms. But if that was the case, why did it not sway in the wind? There is still no answer to this question. A man relaxing in the backyard of his home after work noticed 2 bright spheres in the sky. They flickered rapidly and at times flared so intensely that they illuminated the entire street. Without hesitation, he grabbed his smartphone and began recording them. After a few seconds, one of the lights went out, followed shortly by the second. The next morning, news reports stated that 2 unidentified objects had flown over the city. It was assumed that they were meteorites that burned up in the atmosphere before reaching the Earth's surface. However, the man who captured them on video disagreed. In his opinion, he had either witnessed alien spacecraft that departed as soon as they realized they had been spotted, or highly advanced aerial vehicles designed for high-altitude reconnaissance. In 2015, a flying object shaped like a gigantic sphere with a black matte surface was spotted over the capital of Mexico. Its most striking feature was a set of elongated appendages on its lower part, resembling long, flexible legs. A man who witnessed the appearance of this sphere in the sky noted its resemblance to a squid or an octopus. The footage he published online spread instantly across social media and even appeared in Mexican news outlets. Ufologists and supporters of alien conspiracy theories claimed that it showed one type of extraterrestrial drone. Scott Brando, who has devoted his life to debunking UFO myths, stated in response that it was merely a Mylar balloon filled with helium. He may be right, but many disagreed, as similar objects had reportedly been seen in other regions of the country 2 days earlier. Once, a resident of one of the northern states of India decided to film a thunderstorm accompanied by thunder and lightning on his phone. At one moment, the sky was lit by an extraordinarily bright flash, and for a fraction of a second, an image of the god Shiva appeared above the horizon, seated in a lotus position with his hands folded on his knees. At first, the man doubted what he had seen, but after rewatching the recording several times, he realized it was not an illusion. A few days later, the footage appeared online and attracted widespread attention. Most viewers confirmed that the figure of Shiva was indeed visible in the video and considered it a good omen. Others did not take the clip seriously and suggested that the author and his supporters were experiencing pareidolia, a phenomenon in which the human brain seeks familiar images where none actually exist. On the 27th of February 2018, at approximately 5 in the morning, viewers of the television channel Fox 6 News saw live on air how numerous bright lights appeared over Milwaukee in the state of Wisconsin. They were extremely luminous, moved chaotically, and stayed tightly grouped together. Later, a video showing the strange spots swirling against the night sky appeared on the Twitter page of a Los Angeles news outlet, where in less than 1 day, it gathered more than 2,000 comments. Subscribers proposed many explanations, ranging from light emitted by drones to spirits and extraterrestrials. Sometime later, representatives of Fox 6 News joined the discussion, stating that it was not mysticism at all, but a flock of seagulls captured by ultra-sensitive studio equipment. This explanation struck many as rather absurd and only strengthened their belief in ghosts or aliens. In Florida, customers at one of the night gas stations, standing in line for fuel, noticed a massive triangular-shaped craft in the sky. It hovered motionless almost directly above them and glowed with numerous blue lights that pulsed rhythmically as if transmitting signals. After a few minutes, a nearly identical but smaller aircraft appeared beneath it, and then both objects vanished in an unknown direction. The following morning, social media reported that a tactical reconnaissance aircraft known as the TR-3B Astra had flown over the state. The next day, all original videos showing the mysterious craft disappeared from local online communities for unknown reasons. Only screenshots and short clips remained on the internet, making it difficult to determine what exactly flew over Florida that night: a mythical aircraft, a UFO, or something else entirely. These frames capture a dark substance smoothly flying above the ground. If you examine it closely, you can see a flat tail, several tentacle-like appendages at the front, and protrusions on the sides resembling wings. Unfortunately, the author of the video does not specify where, when, or under what circumstances he encountered this mysterious object. One can only speculate about what it might have been. Some internet users compare it to a kite, a controllable traction kite that allows a person to move quickly over water or snow. However, no one can logically explain how it flew against the wind, why it pulsated, and why it rotated like a living creature. According to other assumptions, the video shows a bundle of balloons, a homemade radio-controlled flying device, a cutting-edge scientific development, or even an alien spacecraft, which is difficult to believe. On the 3rd of August 2023, residents of the capital of Luxembourg observed the appearance of a bright green beam descending from the sky to the ground above the city. It was so massive that it could be seen even at the borders with neighbouring countries such as Belgium, Germany and France. Videos and photographs capturing the beam from different angles flooded social media and attracted conspiracy theory enthusiasts. They convinced others of its extraterrestrial origin and urged people to start preparing for a meeting with aliens. However, their assumptions turned out to be false. The green beam did not belong to extraterrestrial civilizations, but was launched to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the founding of the Trump Group brand, and according to the organizers' idea, symbolized a Jubilee candle. Industrial equipment from the company Lightline was used to create the so-called super laser. It was this company that effectively gifted the residents of Luxembourg a spectacular sight that many mistook for an alien invasion. That's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification bell. Your activity is the best reward for me. Thank you for your attention. See you soon. Bye.